Look at the next chapter of the Trump administration here. We are joined by South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson. So, AG Wilson, thank you so much, as always, for your time. You just returned back from D.C., spent the past couple of days there for the inauguration of President Trump. I think first and foremost here, what was your reaction being there? Now that it seemed like we are in this new chapter, he had promised a golden era for America. So when we look at it, and we look at the checklist that he's provided when it came to his swearing in, his inaugural address, what are you now looking forward to most when it comes to this next phase for a Trump administration?
Well, I think the ambition and the boldness of his agenda was born out of the malaise of the last 4 years we've seen under the Biden administration. People are frustrated. People are tired. Inflation is kicking our butts. People are sick and tired of the immigration problem, the drug problem, the fentanyl problem, the trafficking problem. All of these things were born out of the policies of the last administration. So the president's coming in hard. He's coming in fast. He's got a very bold agenda to make America great again, which has been the hallmark of his entire campaign going back more than 10 years. So this is something I'm very excited about. I'm going to do everything I can to support the president's agenda legally as the Attorney General of South Carolina. Obviously, I believe the president's agenda for America is also good for the people of South Carolina, and I intend to do everything that I legally can to support it.
You mentioned he came in hard, came in fast, one of those things where he signed a long list of executive orders. That includes an extension of the TikTok ban, allowing the company to work out a deal with the U.S. He mentioned possible 50% stake for the U.S., but extends it now 90 days for TikTok to get a deal done. Wanted to get your reaction on it because in the past you've been critical of TikTok. You've made it a big focus of yours to kind of rein in social media. You've said that the operations in the U.S. for TikTok pose a serious threat to our national security. Do you like this extension? If so, why? And ultimately, do you hope that TikTok is banned or sold here in America?
Well, look, the lawsuit in my mind was always a means to an end, not the end itself. I mean, I was one of the AGs that supported the petition to the U.S. Supreme Court to uphold Congress's ban and divestment of TikTok from the Chinese Communist Party. I thought that was important because it is an existential threat to the United States of America and its citizens and our privacy. Having said that, had the Supreme Court struck down the ban, the president would not have the leverage he now has to negotiate whatever compromise that he and the officials within the Department of Defense and the national security apparatus have. So the president now has the Supreme Court in a per curiam, which means all the justices agreed across the full political spectrum that Congress has a right to ban a platform that is controlled by the Chinese Communist Party in China, which is a pacing national security threat to the U.S. Now the president has within the law the means to negotiate whatever compromises he thinks will allow the platform to exist in some other fashion without compromising the security of citizens. So I'm waiting to see what the president can do. Obviously, I wasn't against a compromise or wasn't against a negotiation, but now we have the leverage to effectuate one. So if you love TikTok and you want to stay on the platform, the Supreme Court decision actually enables the president to go to the negotiation table, so to speak, with leverage that he would not have had. And so I would like to see what he can do over the next 75 days.
Are you concerned that after this extension period, there may be another one if the deal is not reached, and there may be another one? Because some lawmakers have expressed concern over that. We're saying, well, we'll give it another 90 days, or we'll give another 180 days. And then after that, it's repeated again. And then by the time it comes around, we just forget, and it just continues on.
It's too early for me to say whether I'm going to be concerned because we don't know what we don't know. I mean, the law requires that as long as significant progress is being made in the sale or negotiation to sale or divest from the Chinese government, then you can get those extensions. I don't know what significant progress means. I don't know how it's defined. That is a very fact-specific question. So let's give them the 75 days and let's see where we are and let's see what we know, and then I'll be able to better answer that question. Obviously, you don't want to kick the can in perpetuity forever. There has to be a point in time in which we fish or cut bait. But right now, we have a good start, and I'm excited to see where it goes.
Another executive order that is already receiving pushback from President Trump is the one where it temporarily bans and puts a hold on birthright citizenship. We've seen more than a dozen attorneys general already respond to that, suing the Trump administration. The 14th Amendment there. How do you think that will hold up in court when it comes to that specific executive order there, birthright citizenship?
Well, first, let me say this. I'm committed to doing everything I can to support President Trump's bold and ambitious agenda for our country and especially for the state of South Carolina. With that being said, I have always vigorously opposed the political concept, the constitutional concept that people can come here and anchor a baby that will allow an entire family of illegals to stay here simply by having a child. At the same time, I did graduate from law school, and I've read the 14th Amendment, and I know how it begins. All persons born or naturalized are citizens of the United States, to paraphrase that amendment. With that being said, you know, this is an amendment that was written for emancipated slaves. It has obviously been abused over the last 160 years. I have not yet read the complaint filed by the 18 attorneys general, and I have not read the executive order. My team is currently evaluating this. I would like to try to support anything that we can do to support the president's agenda to the degree that we can with the law that we have and the way the Constitution is written. With that being said, birthright citizenship is bad American policy. You should not be able to anchor yourself here simply by having a baby. At the same time, we need to recognize that there are a lot of children who were born here, many of whom don't speak their native tongue. You know, from the country that their parents came from illegally. I don't want to hurt people who are currently here, but I do want to end the practice that incentivizes people to come here and have babies so that they can stay illegally. That is a bad incentive program, and it's something that the United States needs to look at in the long term and how it can hurt our country. So those are things that I'm looking at right now. We're going to evaluate it legally before we say anything definitively.
All right. Attorney General Alan Wilson, always appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.